Peace, family. This is Camson for Remnants Gathering, and I am so excited to do this and release this information to you all. As you can see here, Bobby Hemmitt, once again, has done it again. He exposes the truth about pedophilia and the connections between R. Kelly, Aaliyah, Michael Jackson, Sehkmet, Maat, and Trump. I know, it seems very random. It seems like hardly any of those names or people or energies, deities, should be connected. However, I stayed up to 5:30 in the morning, and these messages were coming through to me. I was getting these huge downloads, and everything would get confirmed right after I got the download. I wasn't even looking for it. It was just manifesting itself to me. So, I'm going to get into the video. I'm going to break down to you the connections. But first, I want you to watch Bobby Hemmitt and listen to him as he connects Isaac Hayes, which played Chef on the cartoon. What was the name of that cartoon, babe? South Park. And he has this obsession with making love to little kids. You can switch, of course, Isaac Hayes, black man, does great music. You can switch him out for R. Kelly and just see how this played out. And you can see the predictive programming, and you can see how magic and a manifestation, and they must show it to us first, right? So check that out, and then I'm going to come back and break down to you some of the connections between the things that Bobby Hemmitt breaks down and what's happening today with the R. Kelly scandal, the Michael Jackson documentary, the peace treaty that Trump is doing. It all ties in together. So, check this out.
Comedy Central, I have a show called South Park. Been coming on for 8 years. Okay. They had the premiere of South Park, the season premiere of South Park last Thursday, last Wednesday. And you know, Isaac Hayes has been on there as the chef for these little 8-year-old boys since the beginning. And all of a sudden, you know, he quit the other thing based on the discrepancy with the Scientology people he was with and all this kind of thing. And he quit, so they had to kill him off. Right. So this was his last show. But the show was based on him returning, over the summer vacation or something? Yeah. Back to South Park, chef. Now I want to show you what this thing is about. Anyway, to set this all up, Chef returns back to South Park with all these 8-year-olds, and all Chef want to do is screw. He want to make love to the 8-year-olds. You know, Chef is the lover in the town. Right. He makes love to all the women. But now he come back, and now he want to make love to children. So they was like, wait a minute, Chef is brainwashed. And then this is what, is this in the way? Because I got to show this on the camera. Is it on in the way? No, I can put it over here. Is that in the way? No, you could. Okay, cool. That's why I still do this. Now, so the little 8-year-olds and all them, they want to go and get the chef for being brainwashed. I want to show this little piece so we can enter this into the evidence, so you just don't think that this crazy nigga is always making up stuff. Video one, play. Hold on. Always shit. Hold on 1 minute. Oh, there's motion. That's what it is. I didn't put the damn thing in. That's on my face. That's now what I want to do is, they come while Chef is locked in the open school children. You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to show you this so you can see this stuff and let you know that we ain't just dropping no, telling no fibs here or whatever. First of all, to set it up, they take these children to Bohemian Grove. Now, I got to tell you about Alex Jones and go into the whole thing. This is the white boy that's playing the Illuminati and how they take these children to Bohemian Grove. And he even showed a ritual in the 1930s where they got this black boy laying on the table. And everybody, Peter Jennings, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bush, Clinton, all of them. See what I'm saying? Because I know you ain't stupid thinking Republican and Democrat is two different entities. And these white folks that you, whether you get a Democratic president, that they are something that's for you. Bill Clinton was one of the worst presidents black people ever had. Most of your retirement programs was closed, was shut down under Bill Clinton. Ask Ron Brown about that shit. Nigga plane fell right out of the sky. See what I'm saying? Air Force 2 and Clinton and Hillary was on it the day before. Those planes don't go down. You know what I think about an airplane? An airplane has two motors. It can run on one motor. Don't you understand why the safest travel on planet Earth is an airplane? It's the safest bar none. You see what I'm saying? You might get fucked up with a lawnmower the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? A skateboard is more dangerous than a plane. Yeah, planes hardly ever go down. It's just that they're so tragic because they kill more people when they go down. But when the last time we had a plane crash in America? 1997. When they blew up TWA right out of the sky, 1997. And no, that's 1996. Because they had TWA was blown up out of the sky, and Value Jet, they blew it up out of the sky because they wanted to, it was a turf war in the Olympics. And Value Jet had gotten in some space in the LaGuardia, and Delta and Coca-Cola blew them right out of the sky. Know this. So now, these planes don't go down. Ain't no plane crashing, especially no Air Force 2. You see what I'm saying? You see, so it's almost highly impossible now these days. When they said in 1994 we're gonna have 0 plane crashes, and they haven't had a plane crash since 1994 because the 2 that did crash were blown out of the sky, TWA and Value Jet. So know this. So the point I'm trying to make here is, all of these cats go out to Bohemian Grove. You see what I'm saying? All these big people, and they go get energized and do certain things with children, and they go now. So in so many words, they get to the bottom of what Chef, what happened to Chef. First thing they did to deprogram him, they went to a strip club
If you want to go around the world molesting kids, that's totally fair. But why do you need chefs?
We don't need him. He needs us. Our club offers hope. You think we go around the world molesting children just because it feels really, 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 really good? No. Our club has a message and a secret that explains the mysteries of life.
Oh, Jesus, here we go.
Very well. I'm now going to tell you the secret of the Super Adventure Club.
You don't want to hear it.
I must stop because I need to say something to both of you. What the Illuminati or the Power Elite is saying on Wednesday night that they are telling. See, one thing about the Power Elite, they always tell you what they're gonna do. Right. And it's up for the people who are on the frequency to understand. Now they know that the mass of the people think it's a cartoon. All I want to do is worship Jesus. Not popcorn or whatever. That's all I want to do is listen to some Kurt Franklin. They're not talking about them. They're sending a message. And so you said, well, why would they do this? Because they are infallible. They believe, because of their arrogance and their pomp, they believe that whatever they say, they are infallible. Because why not? Because the last 1,000 years, everything they have done is gone unchallenged. That's right. You see what I'm saying? By God itself. They have had nothing even spiritual to chastise them, and they go without a pause doing shit around the world. Now that's spiritual because the simple fact is, it's always to get them. See, in Star Wars, they say your confidence will be your undoing. So America is actually falling right now, and they don't even know it because they don't suspect it because their ego is poisoned to the point that they are infallible. You see what I'm saying? It's like Michael Jackson, who got a taste of white. Oh, Lord, I'm about to. Oh, God. I'm thinking it's your coat. I'm so much. About to crush the baby head. Oh. It's like Michael Jackson. He thought that he was inside of all white people love me. And I think this last time he finally got him. He was in that courtroom and the clock was ticking down. And before he got free, he said, wait a minute, these white folks don't love you. And he got to another little island where he can do what he can do with little children. With no consequences. You see what I'm saying? Because Mike thought that he was infallible. Because everybody, and they say, because down on that, even Jamie Foxx and a bunch of people, they said, we used to go to Michael Jackson and say, yo, man, they coming for you, man. Whatever, Michael Jackson, because they raised him up so high, just like OJ. They just think the white folks love him. And Rick James was the one, he said, when I went to that prison and they was going to kill me, and it was them brothers that had listened to my music and grew up on my music, said, ain't nobody killing you. He said he knew then what was happening. They said, what? He said, I thought that white folks loved me. He was on BET one night. He said, I thought that white folks loved me to the point where I didn't think nothing could happen to me like that. Well, it's the same thing with these people. These people have done evil so long until now they can come out and do something. You see what I'm saying? And they always tell you what they're going to do. Because in the Gospel of Thomas, which was the one done in 1945 in the Nag Hammadi Library, says, all things that is hidden in the last days will be revealed. So now this white boys, they're telling you Wednesday night what's going down. Let's do this thing.
William P. Phineas.
Let me rewind. So give me the whole thing. To the really, really, really good. There you go. That's it. Okay, now let's rewind. Okay.
That's totally fair. But why do you need chefs?
We don't need him. He needs us. Our club offers hope. You think we go around the world molesting children just because it feels really, 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 really good? No. Our club has a message and a secret that explains the mysteries of life.
Oh, Jesus, here we go.
Very well. I'm now going to tell you the secret of the Super Adventure Club.
You don't want to hear it.
You see, the Super Adventure Club was founded by the greatest explorer of all time, William P. Phineas. Phineas climbed the highest peaks, tamed the mightiest rivers. But every time he got somewhere, he
Get out of here.
Immortal. He discovered that children have things called marlocks in their bodies. And when an adult has sex with a child, the marlocks implode, feeding the adult's receptor cavity with energy that causes immortality, so say the ruler of Bedlos. Phineas traveled the world, loving many, many children, and he lived for eternity until he was hit by a train in 1892.
Do you realize how retarded that sounds?
Is it any more retarded than the idea of God sending his son to die for our sins? Is it any more retarded than Buddha sitting beneath a tree for 20 years?
Yeah, it's way, way more retarded.
Well, now that you know our club secrets, it appears you leave us no choice.
I just wanted to show you that. Now this is right on TV. Now, show you. Now you see it for your own self. Now, you get quick on energy. You ever hear old man give you worms? It was suck off. Well, it's some interesting why old people used to say shit like that. Old man give you worms. You ever heard that? Something happened and somebody came down with some worms. But anyway, he said how they would suck off the energy and it would replenish that energy, would replenish and revitalize that older person. And this is interesting. Well, we can just look at just basically in your family. My grandmother stayed young until we graduated high school and went on to college and moved out of the house. And then my grandmama, about 4 or 5 years after we did that, she died. She died, and they say that young people keep you young. So even on a social level, that's true, to keep the mind sharp and all this. But in a metaphysical level, an alchemical level, these things happen. Now, I don't know if these particular terms that you're talking about, Marlock and stuff like that, might be cartoon terminology, but we know Quaker Roots who are talking about this type of stuff. And this is what happened to the children in New Orleans. These fools handed over their babies, and they take them out there and they have sex with them. And this is what happened to Aaliyah. The sister that I'm with, the goddess I'm with, said that she don't like to go to funerals because when she go to funerals, the dead people come up to her talking to her. You see what I'm saying? And the last one, she had to go to, she had another family member died, and the last time the family member came up and was talking to her, she said she don't like to go to funerals. But she said that Aaliyah came to visit her and told her, this just came out Wednesday. She told her that for about 2 years after she was reported dead, that was a decoy. What had happened is these men used her and sucked her energy for about 2 years. That's interesting here because number one, it was about a couple of weeks before 9/11 that she died in 2001. And number two, she was 22. What's that? In a minute, but I got to go. She's down here. Oh, it is. No, it's been messing up. Yeah. So, and for about 2 years, after that, she was 22, which is the goddess Maat. That's the one with the wings over there. On thing. The goddess Maat is also 22, which is the balance. You see what I'm saying? And she was 22 when she died. You see what I'm saying? And even that word Aaliyah, you can look some of those things up and guarantee you hit gold if you study those. You see what I'm saying? Those words, the etymology on that type of stuff. So anyway, they sucked off her energy. But first they had to immortalize her in a ritual called Queen of the Damned. Whereas they put her in a movie, and then what they do, they suck her energy at the end of the movie and kill her. And what happened? The other vampire became the Queen Mother, and she died. And then they had to repeat the ritual in real life. This is real deal stuff that's going down. So these people that they have found and stuff, they doing this thing, and this is what happened in New Orleans.
So as you can see, Bobby Hemmitt says that through his girlfriend channeling at a funeral, they found out that Aaliyah was actually used and held hostage for 2 years after the plane crashed, and She was used by the Cabal, the Jewish elitists, in occult rituals, which is why she was cast in the movie Queen of the Damned in the first place. It was a ritual. So you have to look at the timing. Why are they stirring all of this up so close to her birthday, which is January 16th, just passed? What's significant about the timing? First, let's start here. The 25th is a day that many artists are sacrificed, including Aaliyah and Michael Jackson. Now, this ties in Aaliyah and Michael Jackson, and Bobby Hemmitt mentioned both of them like back to back. Whenever you see synchronicities like that, spirit is speaking, source is speaking, and it's something that you're supposed to pay attention to. So this new documentary on Michael Jackson is being released on January the 25th. Here we go with the 25 again, the same day that they died. They're going to release this film. Now, both of them had something in common. Outside of music and being incredibly talented, they both had a very angelic, childlike energy about them. This is significant for a reason, especially when you look at the significance of Aaliyah's name. Her name means exalted, high, and sublime. Remember sublime, because that connects to Sehkmet, and I'm going to get into the energy of Sehkmet after this, later on in this video. This name is of Arabic, American, African, and Hebrew origin. The feminine form of her name is Ali, and this was popularized, of course, by her. Now, in the Bible, her name has the same meaning, but it sheds even more light as to why the peace treaty was done on the exact same day as Aaliyah's birthday between Trump and the head officials of Israel. They had a meeting. Let me drop the screen recording in here and let you check this out. Now, you have to pay attention to dates, pay attention to numbers, pay attention to the astrological significance of things that are happening. Why? Why on Aaliyah's birthday? Why does her name represent the immigration of Jews from the diaspora to the land of Israel? Right? In Hebrew, the act of going up. Aaliyah, by moving the land of Israel, is one of the most basic tenets of Zionism. Now remember this, because there is the Cabal practices Kabbalah magic, and there's no way that these things are coincidences, because there's no such thing as a coincidence. Let me hit you with some more synchronicities. Do y'all see this? There's a fulfilling of 70 years. This is very high magic, what we see here. This coin that you're looking at is a real coin. It was produced, if I'm not mistaken, last year. There's been a lot of talk about it, and I'm just not really looking into it this year when I fell into this rabbit hole after Bobby Hemmitt escorted me ever so nicely into this rabbit hole, and it's so much coming out. But look at this. Some of the main things that stand out for me is the lion. Of course, the lion takes me back to the Sehkmet energy. The eagle stands out as well. You know, we have the bird, the representation from Egypt, from the north and south Egypt. You have the serpent and you have the bird. I want to say that's King Ramses, who has that on his crown. And this is just a representation. These animals are representations. They are symbols, right? And they have all ancient Egypt origins. Yet we have a non-Egyptian, non-melanated man on the coin. And you also see King Cyrus, I think this is. And so this is very high magic. They are almost resurrecting the energy of King Cyrus. And I hadn't really got deep into what the implications are of King Cyrus and what were the things that he did, because I'm sure that would open a whole other rabbit hole. And right now, I'm shit deep in a lot of synchronicities, and it's it's blowing my mind how intricate the system is that they're using to manifest these things. And we know that these are not the true Jews, you know, and so this just takes us back to, this is a covert war, and it is based on race, and it is based on the exaltation, white supremacy remaining where it is, and preventing black people, melanated people, from being exalted above them. And so all of this, why all of this has happened, that's why the attack is on the black man. And I'm going to get deeper into that, because all of the wonderful things that have been said about Sehkmet connect to the black man, very much so, and connect to all of this, and it's going to bring it together for you. So now let's go back to Michael Jackson, since the documentary is about to be released with the allegations of the sexual abuse. And I asked myself, okay, what were the dates that he went to court on the specific cases being used in this documentary? And to my surprise, the date was the 25th again. And you can see that here. And so we have this 25 being used over and over again, whether it's the death of these individuals or the death of them, their character, right? And so this is very significant. And for me, this connects to what we used to call Jesus the Christ, which connects back to the Egyptian Christ, which connects back to Horus. And even further back, if I'm not mistaken, Tiamat connects into the 25th as well. And so this day is very significant to occultists to use this. And then you have the solstice, and it's usually between the 21st and the 25th, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm just going off of memory here, and you all correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, they're doing this about the court case, and the date of the court case was the 25th as well. And this was the exact same year that, let's see, when all of this happened, the 25th, 2005, that's right. So there's a lot of numerology and gematria being used here for manifestation. So again, this is very high magic. Now, as you can see here, 233, I went to gematria to look up this, to start seeing so many synchronicities with the numbers, and it led to Make America Again. That was a gematria of 233. And the reason why 233 is because Michael Jackson's documentary is going to be 233 minutes long, and every article that I pulled up about the documentary made sure that it highlighted the fact that it's going to be 233 minutes long. Whenever they do that is an esoteric way of communicating with each other. And we know how big of a deal Make America Great Again with Trump. And so they're actually using these magical rituals to stop the ascension, to stop the awakening of the black gods, the Blackamoor, the Messiah. And they're trying to recreate prophecy where it puts them on top. Let me give you some more stuff with 233. Another thing that really, really stand out when 233 was the hope in God and being the peace officer. We know that Trump is acting as the peace officer. What's really big, though, the teaching magic. Aaliyah got into magic. I'm going to prove that. And I am the dead king. 233 minutes, the king of pop. There we go. It also is associated with bloodshed, and bloodshed is affiliated with Sehkmet, right? So these are the many numerological connections, and I can only do a few because I would be all day spewing to you all of the numerology centered around these scandals. And I must not fail to mention the Garden of Life, which is connected to the Garden of Eden, the Tree of Kabbalah, the Tree of Life, the Tree of Knowledge of Good and Evil. And also, as we can see here, the camera 233. And the camera is being used as the weapon to tear down a lot of black men. From the footage of R. Kelly peeing on the little girl, which they had from a very long time ago, to the camera being used to do these documentary series. And so that's another reason why the 233 is connected to all of this. Y'all see R. Kelly with the Jesus piece. They had to throw that in there. We keep seeing this 25. 25 is associated with the winter solstice, with the 25th, with the Christ, with, you know what I'm saying, the whole Horus mythology from ancient Egypt. And so, yeah. But anyway, I said that I would prove that Aaliyah was into magic, had gotten into magic after doing Queen of the Damned. This lady, her name is Tracy Brown. Go check out her channel. Her celebrity psychic reading on Aaliyah brought forth more information and was more accurate than all the others that I had watched. And Aaliyah was explaining to her that she thought she was saying she was in love with a musician, but she was saying that she was in love with being a magician. She was in love with magic. And another thing that proves that is her brother, in an interview, a documentary that he did shortly after her death, he said that Aaliyah was very drawn to the dark side, and she was drawn to dark magic, dark occultic things. And I'm sure that that movie took her deeper into that. And it's no coincidence that she was in the Bahamas recording her last video. And we know the history of the Bahamas. We know that a lot of the islanders still have a lot of their roots. And I believe personally and intuitively, I feel that she was studying magic, and being there was an opportunity maybe for her to even participate in a few magic rituals while she was there. And as you can see here, Aaliyah was so good at channeling these Egyptian goddesses, and when she did the character, and her brother said the lines had to be redone because the Egyptian accent her character had was too difficult to understand. That's amazing. That right there just proves how great her abilities were. Being an actress is about being able to be open as a channeler and to allow energies to fully embody themselves within you, and not second guess it. And she was able to do that. She was a natural. I believe that Aaliyah was born to do exactly what she was doing. And that would have been dangerous to have a young black woman who a lot of young black women looked up to say, hey, this stuff isn't something you should steer away from. You should study this. Do your own research. Can you imagine how many people would have come out of the enslavement of the religion of our oppressor, Christianity, at that time? So personally and intuitively, I think Aaliyah would have caused an awakening to happen way back in the beginning in 2001. And I believe that the powers that be were fearful of that because of her ability to just impress upon people, to influence people, her magnetism. Now, her brother was quoted as saying that she said herself, she think everybody has a bit of fascination with the dark side. And she says, I myself have always loved the dark side as well. And we know what Bobby got to say about the dark side, right? Bobby Hemmitt always talks about the dark side and how, going into that dark night at that shadow and learning to use that energy for manifestation. That alone right there is powerful. And I believe they were documenting her. They were using familiar spirits and people to keep an eye on her. And her transformation after channeling these Egyptian goddesses would have been a detriment to the agenda of the powers that be to keep us mentally and spiritually enslaved. Now, in case you all maybe have, maybe missed it, but Whitney Houston and Bobby Christina, when they were buried, they had these Egyptian sarcophagus outside of the funeral. This just proves that these record labels do rituals. They use the energy of the souls of their artists to do these rituals, a lot of time unbeknownst to them. And this just shows the connection between everything that Bobby Hemmitt talked about in the snippet of the video that you watch at the beginning of this video. It looks out of place. You have to ask yourself, why were they there? Were they performing a specific ritual to collect the essence of Whitney and Bobby to be reused by the executives of the music industry to make more money, gain more power and influence using their essence, a form of rebirth? I mean, Whitney and her daughter did die by water, and we know that Aaliyah died by fire. So again, you have the 4 elements being used here. She died in the air, in an airplane. You have these elements that are constantly being used, and it's repetitive. And the main thing about magic and manifestation is repetition. So here's my beloved Sehkmet. After coming out of religion, Sehkmet was one of the first manifestations in a meditation. And she was one of the first energies that I had an interaction with, and I have been very touched by her energy and by this. And I've always been the kind of person where I search for justice, and Sehkmet is the embodiment of that. And I don't think it's a coincidence that my actual real name, Kamsen and Sehkmet, has all the same letters except for the T and add an I. I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't believe that it's a coincidence that I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee with an Egyptian name. And I've been told by several readers that I'm of Egyptian lineage, of the bloodline of Sehkmet. And remember, this is how I gathered all of this information from the lecture by Bobby Hemmitt on the bloodline of Sehkmet. And I'm adding this because it is very important as a people who are searching for the truth and searching for our roots to understand that these energies are available to all of us to assist us. But they are being misused by the powers that be. Now, let me explain the energy of Sehkmet. She's primarily a goddess that represents Kundalini energy, and she's symbolized by the royal cobra, which she bears on her head together with the solar disc. One of her chief epithets was the Great One of Healing, as mentioned above, and her son by Ptah was Nefertum, the god of healing. Sehkmet was a conduit of the psychic energy of Shakti. It was this boundless cosmic energy that gave her all her power. Robert Masters asserts that ancient Egyptians knew about the mystery of Kundalini and the chakras. There's a tradition which says that there once existed an elaborate system of sexual mysticism and magic originating with Sehkmet, and which later was lost, perhaps taken away by her. Important for the system were both the Kundalini energy and those centers of psychic energy known in India as chakras. The word Shakti is itself a Hindu derivative from the name Sehkmet. And so, as we can see from the very brief description of her, that the Kundalini energy, the sexual mysticism, the sexual rituals, the psychic energy, the ability to channel, all of these things tied together with ancient Egypt with Michael Jackson, which I'm going to show you later, where Michael Jackson was transforming himself into an Egyptian ruler, physically, and probably spiritually as well, because he did do you remember the time about ancient Egypt? It ties in why all of these scandals centered around black men, the original man, are sexual scandals, right? And so they're trying to tap back into this Sehkmet energy because she's about to return for bloodshed. Sehkmet assists Maat, and Maat is like balance, but Sehkmet is like straight justice, bloodshed. By any means necessary, it's time to right these wrongs of the people who have been oppressed, and they're tapping into that energy. Now, let's get into some of the words of power that are used in the practice of working with Sehkmet. She's the great one of magic. Remember, Aaliyah was in love with magic. She's the mother of gods. When you think of mother of gods, you think of the black woman who is the creator of humanity. And as we can see here, we speak the power of life and death in the tongue, and so these words are used to invoke up these energies. And as we go on, Sehkmet also represents the one who was before the gods were, right? And so you have so many different mythologies and so many gods, from Greek gods to Roman gods to Celtic gods. I mean, the list goes on and on. But at the end of the day, who was the one before the gods were? The energy of Sehkmet, the energy of the dark goddess rising, the energy of the primordial force of what we call Mother Nature, which gave birth to creation itself. She also represents the lady of the place of the beginning of time. So again, we see her energy being used to be manipulated, right? And so that's why so many of these young black women who were tied up in the R. Kelly scandal, they have no idea who they are, their origins, their history, their ancestral lineage. They don't know anything about any of this. And with them being unsuspecting and not knowing, that doesn't mean that they can't be used for rituals. They probably can be used a lot easier for rituals because they're unsuspecting, because they're ignorant to these things and to these facts. And so that energy is being harnessed and used, and it is swaying many people into chaos and confusion. And this confusion is just leading to more division between the black man and the black woman. And the black man and the black woman, the foundation of the family, which is the representation of the Ankh and the offspring, the coming together of them, is what allows the energy of Maat to return to Earth. And the covert war is to stop that from happening. Now, as we can see here, another thing that connects Aaliyah to Sehkmet's energy, the preeminent one in the boat of the millions of years. Her last song was what? Rock the Boat. So again, her energy is connected with Sehkmet in so many different ways. And this is just a really amazing find. And as I'm learning as I go, and it's really helping me to see and understand that there's more than meets the eye. Much more. Sehkmet is also the opener of ways. She is the road opener. She's the lady of transformations. Again, this connects Michael Jackson and transformations that he went through, and changing his whole physical appearance to match that of an ancient Egyptian ruler. You also have the giver of ecstasies. Now, y'all know when you think of the word ecstasy, you can't help but associate it with R. Kelly. The satisfier of desires. You can't help but associate it with R. Kelly. I mean, he was satisfying desires, and it may seem morally wrong to us, but I'm going to get more into the morals, because morals tie into this as well, and is connected to Aaliyah. Sehkmet is the inspirer of male, the ruler of serpents and dragons, and the ruler of the lion. Remember the lion that's on the coin? Remember that Jerusalem is represented by the lion? And so again, you just see all of these synchronicities. And when something has this many synchronicities and it's tied in this much, you cannot deny. Also, Sehkmet is represented by the destroyer by fire. We know Aaliyah died in the plane and it caught on fire. The lady of the waters of life. We know the Aaliyah last video showed the scenes of her in the water. You have the mistress and the lady of the tomb. Just when you think of mistress, you think of marriage, R. Kelly, and possible mistresses. It all ties in. You have the guide and protectress from the perils of the underworld, right? And so I believe that this is why Aaliyah was at peace with going to the underworld and transitioning, because she had already intuitively come to peace with these things. She is known as the source, the winged one, the gleaming one, the aware. Lady of jubilation, adorable one. Aaliyah was definitely adorable. When you say the shining of countenance, mightier than the gods, protectress of the divine order. And there's a divine order that has been violated. And this is why Maat energy returns to put things back in order to get your house in order. As we used to say in church, you better get your house in order. The one who holds back darkness. And so again, we constantly are saying these same words over and over again, associated with all of these different elements that seem to have no connection, but they do. Now, Maat, here we go. She is the ancient Egyptian, the goddess of truth, justice, and morality. That's why morality is being questioned. And all of this, they're acting as if they're trying to balance the scales with this injustice. And, you gotta be moral. You have to have morality. How does this connect back to Aaliyah? Let me show you. Now, I know, and I hope that a lot of you all know by now that the way source, the way universe, the source of all things speaks to us is through synchronicities, through numbers, through symbols. And as we can see here, there were employees of Virgin Records, right? A company with her. Virgin connects back to Jesus, Osiris, the 25th, the birth, the winter solstice, the rebirth, right? The Virgin, in the story of R. Kelly, the scandal, the young lady who was a virgin. They've really been pushing that and giving her a lot of media attention. But back to the morals connected to Maat. The palette of Aaliyah's plane that went down, last name was, guess what? Morales or Morales. And maybe it's pronounced a more Hispanic way. Shit, I don't know how to say that in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. All I know is I'm able to speak truth. And when I see Maat and morals, and when I see the last name Morales associated with Aaliyah, it is undeniable that all of these things are rituals, all of these things are connected, and they are manifesting something that is going above a lot of people's of my aunt, and she's over the tomb of Ramses. And you know, earlier on, I mentioned Ramses, and I mentioned his connection to Michael Jackson and the transformation that Michael Jackson was going through. And I don't think it's a coincidence that in this particular depiction of my aunt, she's kneeling over the tomb of Ramses. So let's check this out. About Michael Jackson, his connection to ancient Egypt and Ramses, and he had a very striking resemblance to the late king of pop when they found this statue. It's supposed to be a 3,000-year-old statue. I don't know if that's true. But what I found to be significant was that the statue is currently located at the Chicago Field Museum. Well, like, Campson, how does that fit into this? Where is R. Kelly from? Where was he living when he was getting these girls and having these sexual rituals basically with them? It's Chicago. And so again, this is a connection between my aunt, Michael Jackson, Ramses, and R. Kelly because of where the statue is being housed, okay? So all of these things are connected. So I am not considered an expert. I do not consider myself to be a scholar. I am a student. I'm a student of life. I am a student of metaphysics. I am learning. And if there's any connections that I missed that you caught on to, comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Please go check out Serious Times channel if you haven't. They have one of the best collections of lectures on all things metaphysics, all things melanated, history, just everything you're looking for is there. And that channel, I'm watching it all day, every day. So shout out to Serious Times Media. Thank you so much for giving me permission to cover this and use a portion of the Bloodline of Sehkmet lecture. And again, check us out. If you want to email us or reach out to us, we can be contacted through remnantgathering@gmail.com. Peace, people. Peace, family.